Take a slow, deep breath in, and let it out gently. Again, feel the breath rising, expanding softly through your chest, and then flowing out like a quiet sigh. With every exhale, allow yourself to feel a little lighter, a little more at ease, as though you are setting down the weight of the day. Let your shoulders drop, let your jaw rest loosely, let your eyes grow soft and heavy even if they remain open for a while longer. There is nothing you need to do now but rest, listen, and drift. Tonight your mind will travel to a place where silence is not empty, but safe, full, and soothing. Our story begins at the edge of a medieval castle wall. High upon the stones, beneath a silvered sky, a watchman leans quietly against the battlements. His cloak stirs only slightly in the breeze. In one hand he holds a long wooden horn, carved carefully and polished smooth. It is a tool of duty, meant to sound the alarm in case of danger. But tonight, as on most nights, it rests quietly at his side. The world around him is calm. Far below, the village sleeps in gentle darkness. The only movements are the slow sweep of constellations above, and the rustle of night creatures in the distance. The watchman's eyes travel the horizon, but nothing stirs. No rider approaches, no fire glimmers, no shadow creeps along the fields. Instead, the stillness itself becomes his companion, a soft, steady silence that feels like a guardian, holding the world in peace. Every so often he breathes deeply, filling his lungs with the cool, night-scented air. The stones beneath his hands are cool too, ancient and strong. They hum with the patience of centuries, as though reminding him, time is vast, and not every hour holds turmoil. He tilts his head back, gazing at the stars. They wheel slowly above him, their constellations whispering stories of hunters, of maidens, of dragons and kings. But more than stories, they carry reassurance. Their light is timeless, their pattern unchanging. The watchman feels small beneath them, and yet comforted like a child beneath a protective sky. The night deepens, and his watch continues, not with tension, but with serenity. For here, in the quiet, he knows that his very presence, his very listening, is enough. The silence is not emptiness, it is safety. And as you rest now, you may feel as though you are standing there too, high upon the wall, breathing the same cool air, looking up at the same timeless stars, safe, calm, unhurried. From the watchtower, we drift gently onward. Beyond the castle walls lies a narrow path, winding down toward the fields. The air carries with it the faintest perfume, earthy, herbal, calming. Following this path, you arrive at a small garden hidden behind stone walls. Its wooden gate creaks softly as it opens, revealing rows of herbs glistening with midnight dew. This is the apothecary's garden. By lantern light, the apothecary moves carefully among the plants. His steps are slow, reverent. Lavender sways gently as his hand brushes past. Sage releases a faint silvery fragrance into the air. Thyme spreads low to the ground, its tiny flowers like stars scattered along the soil. The apothecary whispers to each plant, as though speaking a language only they can hear. And in truth, medieval healers once believed exactly that plant spoke through their shapes, their scents, their colors. A leaf shaped like a heart might heal the heart. A root shaped like a hand might cure the hand. Each plant a silent teacher, each herb a messenger of nature's secrets. He kneels by a patch of chamomile, its blossoms pale in the moonlight. With care, he gathers a handful, tucking them into his basket. The petals smell faintly of apples, soft and sweet. These, he knows, will brew into a tea that soothes restless sleepers, guiding them into dreams. Nearby, rosemary glimmers faintly with dew. He pauses to touch its needle-like leaves, breathing in their sharp, clear scent. Once he recalls, rosemary was burned to cleanse the air in sick rooms. Now under the stars, it seems more like incense for the night clearing, not just the air, but the mind. In the corner of the garden, a stone mortar and pestle rest upon a small wooden table. The apothecary sets his basket down and begins to grind the herbs slowly. The rhythmic sound of stone against stone fills the air, soft, steady, endlessly calming. A lullaby not of music, but of motion. Crush, grind, whisper, hush. The fragrance rises around him, mingling with the cool air. Lavender, sage, chamomile, rosemary all blending together into something more than scent, something like peace itself. He hums as he works, a low, tuneless sound, meant only for himself. The lantern flickers, the herbs release their essence. And all around, the garden listens. The leaves rustle softly, the soil breathes, the night embraces. You, too, are welcome in this garden. You, too, can breathe this air, feel the softness of dew at your fingertips, hear the hush of herbs as they lean together in the breeze. Every sound is gentle, every breath is easy. And so, the night continues, with the watchman above guarding in silence, and the apothecary below, tending in whispers, each in their own way, keeping the world safe, calm, and at rest. Tick, hush, flicker, breathe. The night is yours to rest in. Breathe softly now. Let your chest rise and fall. Imagine the rhythm of your breath joining with the rhythm of the night. Every inhale is like a lantern's flame growing a little brighter. Every exhale is like a star releasing its glow into the dark sky. High upon the wall, the watchman continues his silent vigil. His cloak ripples faintly in the wind, and the polished horn at his side glints with moonlight. He does not lift it. There is no danger to announce. Instead, his ears are open to something else, the great hush of the night itself. At first, the silence feels vast, like an endless sea. But the longer he listens, the more he hears within it. The whisper of grass bending in the meadow, the faint call of an owl, soft and low, the flutter of a bat, sweeping through the starlit air. Silence, he realizes, is never truly empty. It is full of gentle voices, too soft to trouble, yet steady enough to comfort. He leans against the stone, closing his eyes for a moment. Behind his eyelids, the stars seem even brighter. He imagines they are moving closer, bending down to watch him as he watches them. And slowly, he feels a connection as though the constellations themselves are guardians, keeping vigil with him. He whispers, barely audible, "Guide us through the night." And though no sound answers him, he feels the stars reply with their quiet, unwavering light. Down below, in the garden, the apothecary grinds his herbs. The mortar turns, the pestle presses, steady as a heartbeat. Each motion releases fragrance: lavender to calm the restless, sage to cleanse the spirit, chamomile to guide the weary into sleep. He closes his eyes too, just for a moment, and breathes it in. The air feels alive. The plants seem to lean toward him, as though listening, as though approving of his careful work. In their soft language, the language of shape and scent, they speak, not in words, but in feelings. Calm, comfort, peace. He thinks of those who will drink the teas, breathe the smoke, rest in the remedies he prepares. Farmers aching from long days in the field, mothers rocking restless children, elders seeking dreams that come gently instead of harshly. He imagines them sleeping soundly, and his heart fills with warmth. Above, the watchman opens his eyes again, gazing at the stars. He notices one constellation in particular, the hunter, bow drawn across the sky. But tonight, the figure seems softer, less fierce. The bow appears not as a weapon, but as a curve guiding the stars into place. He blinks slowly, drowsily, though he must not sleep. Yet the stars seem to whisper, "It is all right." Even vigilance can be gentle. Even duty can be rest. And in that moment he understands. He is not alone in his watch. The stillness itself is a guardian. The apothecary, meanwhile, sets aside his mortar and takes up a small clay cup. He sprinkles herbs into it, then pours hot water from a kettle resting at the hearth nearby. Steam rises, fragrant and curling, into the night air. He inhales deeply, letting the warmth fill his lungs. The cup glows faintly in the lantern light, as though the tea is not merely liquid, but captured moonlight itself. He takes a slow sip. The taste is floral, earthy, grounding. His body relaxes even more, shoulders releasing tension, eyelids growing heavier. Yet he smiles, for he knows the garden itself is watching, just as the stars are watching the watchman above. Two men, in two places, bound by the same night. One on the wall, one among the herbs. Each listening to silence, each cradled by stillness. The breeze grows softer, as though the earth itself has sighed. The lantern in the garden flickers gently. The stars above shift only slightly, their eternal patterns unchanged. Time itself seems to move slower here, like the drip of water from a fountain, like the steady tick of an unseen clock. And as you rest here too, listening, breathing, imagining, you become part of this stillness, safe within the watchman's guard, safe within the apothecary's care. The world beyond these walls may carry its noise, its weight, its worries, but here, in this moment, you are held in quiet. You are surrounded by guardians of silence, by whispers of herbs, by light of stars. The watchman gazes upward once more, whispering softly. The night is vast, but it is kind. The apothecary lifts his cup, murmuring, "The earth speaks." If we listen, and between them, though they do not know it, a harmony forms. The stars and the herbs, the silence and the fragrance, the watchtower and the garden, all are threads in the same tapestry, weaving calm across the night. Tick, hush, flicker, breathe. The rhythm continues. And you, too, may drift deeper with it. The watchman steadies his breathing, eyes drifting between the lanterns below and the constellations above. His mind begins to wander, lulled by the hush of the night. The stars, steady and eternal, seem to shimmer with intention like tiny eyes, watching kindly, guiding softly, and then, almost imperceptibly, he feels them shift, not in their patterns, but in his perception. The stars no longer feel like cold, distant lights. Instead, they resemble glowing embers scattered across a vast hearth, a cosmic fire, burning gently, warming the universe. He feels as though the heavens themselves are not above him, but around him, embracing him. He blinks, and in the stillness between each blink, shapes form. The hunter constellation bends into a shepherd, cradling stars like lambs. The crown becomes not jewels, but petals of a flower blooming across the sky. Even the distant Milky Way softens into a glowing river, flowing endlessly and silently, carrying time itself upon its current. The watchman exhales slowly. His duty is to guard, yet tonight it feels less like guarding and more like listening to a secret lullaby sung by the universe. He rests his hand upon the cool stone of the wall, and in its roughness he feels grounding, connection. He whispers once more, almost to himself, "The night guards me, as I guard the night." Down in the apothecary's garden, the soft steam of the herbal tea curls into patterns of its own. For a moment, the apothecary watches the mist as if it were a language, symbols forming and fading with each breath of the breeze. Lavender drifts upward like a violet ribbon. Sage sends a silver spiral into the air. Chamomile flickers like faint golden sparks, delicate and bright. It feels as though the herbs are not just medicine, but storytellers, weaving tales through their scent and smoke. He leans back, closing his eyes. In the darkness behind his lids, he sees not emptiness but patterns like the loom of a weaver, threads of fragrance crossing and joining. The herbs speak to him, not with words but with sensations. A cool river stone pressed to the palm. A meadow swaying in gentle sunlight. A night free of worry, cradled in stillness. His breath grows heavier, slower. Though his body remains in the garden, part of his mind drifts, following the threads of fragrance into dreamlike places. And now, the two watchmen and apothecary, though far apart, begin to share the same dream. The stars above soften into woven fabric. The herbs below unfurl into constellations. Sky and earth, light and leaf, blend into one seamless lullaby. The watchman sees himself walking not upon stone, but upon a bridge of stars, each step soft and weightless. Ahead, a silver glow beckons. He feels no urgency, no fear, only a sense of calm direction, as though the path has always been waiting for him. The apothecary, in turn, dreams of a garden that stretches forever. Not just lavender and sage, but flowers of every color imaginable, some glowing faintly, others whispering in voices too soft to be fully heard. He walks among them, brushing his fingers across their petals, each touch sending ripples of peace through his body. Though they do not see one another, the watchman and apothecary walk the same dream. One beneath the sky, one upon the earth, but both held by the same silence, both guided by the same harmony. And you, too, may drift into their shared stillness. You may imagine the stars weaving themselves into a fabric above you, wrapping you in comfort. You may breathe in the herbs, letting each fragrance soften the mind, loosen the body, release the heart. The night continues. The horn at the watchman's side rests quiet. The apothecary's mortar lies still, yet in their quiet, something greater than sound is heard. The language of silence, the lullaby of the world itself. Tick, hush, drift, breathe. The story settles here, not in an ending but in a continuation. For silence does not conclude, it only deepens. The night does not stop, it folds gently into dawn. And you, too, may rest within this fold. Safe, watched over, guided by stars and herbs alike.